Well, tēnā koutou katoa whānau. Welcome back to the Drive Time Show, and welcome to the special interview that we have installed for you guys today. Now, with our rangatahi and some of the stuff that they are doing, I'm always in awe with the awesome kaupapa that they get themselves involved in. And actually, it's really, really cool. And it really makes me so proud to see some of our rangatahi and the future of our rangatahi. Youth Parliament happens every 3 years, and it encourages rangatahi to speak up about youth issues here in Aotearoa. And I've actually got Opunake head boy student Tom Tito-Green, who is only 17, who actually attended the Parliament recently, actually representing local MP Glen Bennett. And he actually got to speak in Parliament, which I think is really cool. But not only was that super cool, but it was cool to have a rangatahi who is Māori, who is from Taranaki, represented in Parliament. So kia ora, Tom. Welcome to the show.
Kia ora. Thank you for having me.
You're totally welcome. Hey, I see that you're in the background of your kura. How's kura going today?
Going good. Normal day. Just, finishing the week off.
Yeah, I bet. Look, it must have been a pretty hectic few months for you, being head boy. Now that's a pretty cool role, isn't it?
Yes.
What is something that you would like? Oh, sorry, I just totally cut you off there. Yes,
right.
Very privileged. Keep going.
Privileged and humbling to have a role like this. And also, having a role like this allows me to help out our rangatahi Māori students as well, which has been a great thing to do within my position.
Yeah, absolutely. How does it make you feel?
Very humbled. Very humbled.
I love that. And for many out there who don't know, Tom is very much a humble person, that's for sure. Hey, it was so cool being able to watch your speech that you did the other day in Parliament. And for our viewers and listeners today who have just joined us, Tom delivered this mighty speech in Parliament regarding Guy Fawkes Day and how we should be changing that day to commemorate the legacy of Parihaka. How did it make you feel standing up in Parliament to deliver your speech?
Well, at the start, I asked the House if I could move a motion, which is a motion that asks the House to acknowledge the legacy of Parihaka and the peaceful leadership of Te Witi o Rongomai, which passed. But unfortunately, it's not a legal motion. But with my speech, just before my speech, I just sat there looking around and felt quite overwhelmed and emotional because obviously Parliament is a place where it suppressed the Māori and was the place that represented John Bryce and the 1,600,000 armed constabulary troops that marched on Parihaka. So it was quite daunting, emotional, but also it helps show how far our country has come since those days of plunder.
Absolutely. And I can imagine, feeling quite emotional, especially being in a place like Parliament, right?
Yeah. Especially with high dignitaries around you a lot, including the Prime Minister and the Governor General.
Wow, that sounds like you were pretty stoked to be in their presence.
Yes. It was quite a very once in a lifetime experience to have that privilege to meet them at the same time as well. But yeah.
What did you think of Jacinda Ardern, our Prime Minister?
She was very much a mum, like very down to earth, very caring. Like despite the politics and despite the issues that we face as a country, like seeing her as a human being and a mother, it was quite a reality check, really. That these politicians are humans as well, not just the big people on podiums and that we see them as on TV. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think sometimes we forget about that, that they're just normal humans, just like and and actually Jacinda's actually quite a good cake maker. Who would have thought, our Prime
Yeah.
Minister. She makes some
Linda's
pretty cool
birthday
cake.
cake.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I loved your selfie with our Prime Minister anyway. How did it make you feel meeting her?
Well, it's quite odd, really, because not every day you just get to be in the presence of a prime minister and the governor general, and it's not every day you have a brief conversation with them and ask them to take a photo with you. So it was quite overwhelming, really.
Oh, but I loved that photo. You guys look both really cool.
Oh,
So good
thank
on you
you.
for asking for a bit of a selfie. Eh? Hey, what was something that you thought was interesting after visiting the Beehive?
I, it was quite weird, odd, because having this opportunity kind of normalized us with the parliamentarian people. Like we had
Oh,
swipe cards that got us into particular areas that we were working in and that. So visiting the Beehive, it kind of became a second home really, because we were
mm.
there for 3 days. But yeah, it just felt like home. Like it wasn't really,
Oh.
yeah, not much. There were rules, but like it just really felt like home really.
Did you think it was as big as it looks from the outside, or was it like, were you
When
like
we
shocked with, wow, is this what it looks like in here?
When we first walked, came on, it was quite wow. This is Parliament. But over the next 2 days, it kind of like, oh, this is Parliament. Like I'm working here as a youth
Oh,
MP.
I'm
Yeah, oh. And like you kind of just dismiss the architecture of it, and you kind of embrace the whole meaning of it once you look past what it looks like in that.
And you, like, felt like you were one of those MPs going in for one of those, you know, deliberations and stuff like that. You're like,
It
"Wow."
was quite odd because I've never been in front of so many cameras before, or had so many
Oh.
security or visitors in that have just watched you, just stare at you or take photos of you while you're walking in there. It was quite odd, really.
And to think And to think that, this happens to, all those MPs. They're always getting,
Yeah,
people coming up to them with a microphone and a camera in their face, and
yeah,
they'd have to really be in the moment, I suppose, and have those answers on lock, like,
yeah.
pressure, right?
I think they kind of drew back on the actual press. Like we didn't have as much as they normally have, which was all right, but like it still was quite weird. Just seeing heaps of cameras everywhere, just wanting photos of you left, right, and center. And then you don't want to be that rude person, be like, "Oh, I have to be there in a couple. I have to be somewhere like now." So you just take some quick photos with people, and then you just take off to where you need to be.
Wow, sounds a bit like a bit of a paparazzi moment for you, Tom.
Yes, so I'm soaking it in before it ends.
I love it. That's so funny. Hey, what was something, random that you hope to take back to share with, your fellow rangatahi that you learned while you were down in Opunake, while you were down in Wellington? Anything random that you can be like, "Man, that's so weird. I'm gonna take that back and share it with my friends."
Weird. The weird thing was the swipe cards, because we didn't think we would have much access to Parliament as we did. And the swipe cards were the weird thing that we had during our time down in Parliament, and it was also the sad thing handing them back in.
So you're like, "Oh, darn, I have no more access to the
Yeah,
Beehive."
because they were personal swipe cards too. They had our positions and our
Mm.
names as well on the swipe cards, so they were personally made for us. And it felt quite sad when we had to give it back over. It felt like getting rid of a family heirloom.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Was there anything that when you came back and you were able to chat with your friends, what was the first thing that you said to them about Parliament or your trip down there? What was something that you were like, "Oh my gosh, wow, this was so cool."
But the cool thing was that everyone was there. Well, majority of the participants that took part in Youth Parliament, they're really there listening to other youth as well, like myself. Like, they had all their different opinions, and we all listened to their different opinions, and we all supported each other. Despite the different people and parties we represented, we kind of really thought of everyone under one umbrella, under one kaupapa.
Oh, that's good. I like that when that happens. And,
Yeah,
everybody has different opinions about everything. Like, I love cats. My boss hates cats,
yeah, yeah,
Okay, whatever. But yeah, I get it. And I think that's really cool. And it just shows that, our rangatahi of today, if they can continue on being like that and their way of thinking, it's going to make some awesome politics and also some
yeah,
awesome MPs, which you guys are the future MPs of Aotearoa. So
yeah,
it's looking cool, Tom. Hey, you are on your last year of high school at one of the
yes.
best schools in Taranaki, Opunake. What are your plans for next year? And cool as if you haven't thought of that, that's kei te pai, but maybe you've got a few plans for next year.
So I'm thinking of studying at Otago University. I'm thinking of studying law, or business or anthropology, one of those three. Yeah, but I've applied down there, but I haven't heard back yet. But fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed for you,
Yeah,
Tom.
yeah.
I am thinking great things for you. So cool. I love it. It's been so great chatting with you today, Tom. I wish you all the very best and enjoy the rest of your school year because it goes by so fast. And before you know it, you're saying ka kite to your friends, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's 13's a hectic time, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing your future endeavors. Ngā mihi, Tom. Thank you so much.